let's stop here.
So yeah, Alex, how did we end up out here in Angeles National Forest today?
I mean, well, we wanted to do like a weekend activity that wasn't too intense, and you know, we wanted to go ahead and stretch our 4x4 legs and stuff like that. So Rower Flats, we went over there to try to see how it was, and obviously it was closed. And then we went somewhere else off Bouquet Canyon Road.
Yeah, I mean, like our last, I don't know, 5 or 6 trips have been really easy dirt roads. Like we haven't had to flex anything. I think the last time that we had a really challenging trip was Death Valley.
Yeah, that was super technical.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, like going from the going through that canyon and then out to like where the what was it called, the Butte Valley.
Butte Valley.
Yeah, heading out to Butte Valley, there was a really technical trail, but then since then we haven't done anything crazy. So
no, and typically when we go camping, it's usually like things off like, you know, where a Toyota Prius can go. Or
exactly.
I'm kind of impressed that that Prius made it all the way in here.
Hey, please. I mean, if the Toyota Prius isn't here.
Anza Borrego is like super flat, too many people there.
But that's okay. I mean, it's cool to take off-road trails that are really chill.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's great. And especially if you have a big group of beginners coming, then it's a nice opportunity to get their feet wet.
I actually really like the places that we've been. So like Alabama Hills is still one of my favorite places to visit.
Yeah.
The only super technical part we went to was Death Valley, which everyone did have like a Jeep at that time. So
yeah, so we got out here, we were going to go to Rower Flats. It's kind of like a playground, but it's definitely got some very technical, very challenging trails. So that's what we were sort of aiming for. A little disappointed that it was closed, but ended up finding another trail that was really close by. And we were thinking, oh, this is just a fire road.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to be that great, but it turned out to be pretty good. So yeah, just to give you guys the details, we turned off of Bouquet Canyon Road onto 6N19, and then that eventually turned into 6N18, and finally turned into 5N24, which dumps you back out onto a main road.
And the location itself isn't bad. I mean, we're 45 minutes north of like, you know, Hollywood and right above Santa Clarita. So if you're in Santa Clarita, this is literally in your backyard. And I guarantee you like 90% of these people that are out here are just weekend warriors that have an ATV in their garage. Right? So
yeah, I mean, that's one thing about the trail. There's going to be traffic on it. We should talk about that. It's been mostly dirt bikes and a couple quads. There we did see about 3 vehicles.
Lexus.
yeah, we saw a brand new Lexus coming up, which was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, there's like a brand new Lexus coming up here.
But more power to him, man. Flex your rig, I guess.
I just think that he might have some damage on his front bumper. It's super low. So
we'll see what happens. I mean, hopefully he ends up turning around if he gets in too deep. So getting back to traffic, whenever you're out on these trails, if you see dirt bikes or quads, the best thing to do is stop, giving them enough space to pass, but just stop. Get to a spot as quickly as possible to pull over, so that way they can maneuver around you. When you're with vehicles out on a trail like this, it can get very skinny at some point. So typically the rules are whoever is going up the hill has an easier time reversing. So you want that person to sort of reverse to a spot where 2 cars can pass. And thankfully along this trail, that is very frequent. You will have many opportunities to pass vehicles, and it's not too difficult at all. Just, you know, make sure you kind of figure out what's going on. If someone's stopped, you're going to want to get around them. If you, of course, stop, then you're going to want to wave them past.
I feel like I really did notice that everybody on this trail had experience already. Like this, they truly use this. Like this is almost a locals only trail, right?
So it feels that way. It's got that vibe.
It does, because you know, like everybody knew all of the off-road etiquette and things like that.
Exactly.
So it was super easy when we encountered traffic. Everybody knew what to do. They gave us like the finger positions and whatnot, and it couldn't be easier.
Yeah, let's talk about the hand signals. If you're in a big group of people, you normally signal how many people are behind you. So let's say it was me and Alex and we have 2 rigs. I would be coming up to the person and I would be showing them that there's one more person behind me. So that way they can expect Alex to come along. When Alex comes along, a good hand signal for him to make is a fist showing there's 0 people behind him. The trail's open behind him. And that's pretty much what you see. So if you see someone giving you a signal of like 3, that means there's more people behind them. And that you may want to just stay where you're at and let them come. And it's super frustrating when people don't do that and there's more in their party and you're not expecting that.
That's exactly what happened with those side-by-sides.
Yeah.
So when we were trying to go downhill, 3 of them passed me by. I thought the coast was clear. None of them gave any sort of signals. It was definitely a new group. And all of a sudden, you know, I was starting to go down and then 5 or 6 more came right behind me. And so, you know, I felt like an asshole in that scenario.
Yeah. It sucks when that happens, but.
There's one more.
He can't get around you now. You might as well continue.
All right. Yeah, nobody told me that there was another one.
Looks like 3.
This is why you use signals, guys.
Okay, so yeah, the trail's good. Right now it's early or late January.
It's late, yeah.
Late January. We just got an unusual amount of rain. So the trail has been very muddy.
Yeah.
Lots of puddles. It's washed out just enough to be challenging. Alex definitely had less than 4 wheels down in a couple points.
Couple wheels on the ground only.
Yeah. So it gave us a good couple challenges, a good couple opportunities to flex the rig. That's definitely true.
Yeah, no, it was super fun. Like definitely some technical spots in there. Not a lot, but enough to, you know, you're not bored and you're just driving. So you definitely have to plan out your line. You know, trying to find out what's the best position for you to go to. If you don't, you know, you're probably gonna have a bad time.
I was definitely 3 wheels, 2 almost up in the air.
Yeah, you definitely tripoded for a second.
What, on a scale from 1 to 5, I would rate this like a 2.5.
2.5, maybe up to a 3 in some parts, but
yeah,
those parts are few and far between, maybe 1 or 2 spots.
Yeah, I would say that the technical offshoots that they provide here, you definitely are looking at a 4, you know,
or a
4
5
plus.
even. Yeah.
So some of them were pretty gnarly, 45-degree angle that goes kind of downward, and you're really probably white knuckling it at that point. So, you know, it does have options, this area, and I think it's great. You know, it depends on whoever wants to go and do whatever you want. It just depends on your experience.
Definitely saw people of different experience levels. Saw some guys that were very experienced who had a broke down motorcycle, just died. It looks like maybe a dead battery or something like that, but guys didn't have cable, so they were kind of screwed, but Alex got them jumped.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't seem too worried about it because they were lighting up cigarettes right afterwards.
Well, yeah, like good to know that they can get home.
Yeah,
for sure. So we definitely make sure to keep an eye out for anyone who needs help on the trail.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's actually a good point too. It's just, you know, safety and stuff that you're carrying with you. You always just want to make sure that you're prepared for any worse situation. Like, we typically carry, like, I think twice of everything in our scenarios, but it's good to know that you have options, and that kind of acts like a fail-safe too. You know, my jumper cables, you know, if they go out, then we still have yours, right?
Yeah. We still got a couple more pair.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got to flex our rigs. What did you learn from this trip? What are you taking away?
Definitely gearing So this one had a lot of downhill moments, and they were super easy, but because they weren't technical and I didn't have to think too much, I really got to explore sort of the capabilities of the gearing for the 4Runner. So I drive a 5th gen 4Runner SR5, no locking differential or anything like that. It has 8-track mode on it, where it just, you know, locks whatever wheel thinks it's losing traction.
And normally in a regular differential, like what you're probably used to on a 4x4, the wheel that is spinning the most tends to get the most power sent.
Because yours is double locked, right? Or
yeah, I got double locked.
Yeah, in the 5th gen 4Runner, I know that you have just one locker option, and that's just the rear diff.
Right.
So in this one, it looks like you have front and rear. So that way, if you lose traction, you can just
I can lock them up, and then they move at the exact same pace when they're locked like that. So if one tire is spinning, you're like, why isn't the other one going? You know, like it's a 4x4. Why isn't it working? Yeah. Well, it's going to send all the power to the wheel that's moving, and so if you lock it, then it will force the power to be evenly distributed. That's with this Jeep and with these manual lockers. But what you have in yours is computer wizardry, which basically tricks the axle into sending the power to the correct wheel, the one that has traction but isn't moving.
Honestly, I've used it on some of our hairy spots in the past, and it's been great.
You're perfect and clear. Oh, that was a skid plate.
What about coming down? It helps coming down too, right?
I did not actually use it this time.
Okay.
So what I learned again from gearing was I put it in 4 low, and then Toyota has like sort of, instead of having a manual 5-speed, you can manually shift your gears, sort of like the sports cars nowadays. And for that, I just put it in gear 1 and 4 low, and it actually worked out really well. So it locked it to about 3 miles an hour.
Right.
So it's just super slow engine braking going downhill, and I didn't have to do anything but just steer, and it was great.
Yeah. And the equivalent in a manual. So I was in 4 low, and I was finding like I could use 2nd or 3rd gear depending upon the situation. So on a very steep decline where Alex was in front of me, and Alex is maybe being careful and not trying to bounce his rig. And if he's going slow downhill, then 2nd gear is best for me. It provides the highest amount of engine braking. 1st gear, by the way, 1st gear is completely useless in 4 low. There's really no reason to use 1st gear. 2nd gear is where it's at for those really crawly, like where you're crawling. So 2nd gear down gives me like maybe 2 miles an hour. I felt like I was always like a mile an hour shorter.
Yeah, because I noticed that you were lagging behind. Yeah. But like, it's funny that you say that, because I guess the gearing is so small in your car that, like, again, 4 low for me in 1st gear, that was 3 miles an hour. But you're saying 2nd, and so that's completely different.
Yeah, 2nd and maybe 2 miles an hour is what you would get with 2nd going down. 3rd feels like it's got the least amount of resistance whenever you're engine braking, and you're really more or less using your brakes to come down, and that's helpful when it's not a super steep decline or when I'm trying to catch up to you. And 3rd gear would go up to about 10 miles an hour comfortably. So if you were coming down a hill more than 10 miles an hour for some reason, that's when the resistance would really be kicking in hard. But like I said, 3rd was for if you wanted it to be open. Now going up, was it the same story going up?
Honestly, I just had it in 4 high, and I just gunned it, because like really, unless it was like the technical spots, you know, I slowed down obviously going uphill, but for the majority of this trail, it was pretty smooth, and I felt like I really didn't even need 4 low for those cases. So like, I was just kind of speeding up some of those hills just because you know, I felt like I didn't need it.
Right.
I just noticed too, what the hell is Off-Road Plus?
Okay, so I actually don't know all the things that this does, but I think what it does is queues up the infotainment system to go into your, what they call off-road pages. It's just another app that's installed on the infotainment center, and it gives you diagnostics about the vehicle. So the state of the vehicle, like what's locked, what's not, you can see all of that there. Temperatures, oil pressure, you know, all the different gauges basically in there, and then you can get to maps really easily through that as well. I think it also turns off like all the traction control, like it sets you up for wheeling. And then I also, on this trip, I didn't hit that because I was using Gaia the whole time on my infotainment center.
Got it.
So I don't care about what the infotainment's doing.
Okay.
But this whole trip I had the sway bar disconnected. I didn't use the lockers at all. I didn't feel like I needed to. But definitely in some of those spots in the mud, might have been a good spot to put it in, lock it up and then go through the puddle.
Yeah, that last puddle that we went through,
Yeah.
I definitely was slipping and sliding, and now my car makes a squeak that I don't know what the hell that is either.
Right.
So,
Right. Sure.
yeah,
That'll, hopefully go away.
I think it's just a lot of mud that's in the
ton
brakes.
of mud in the brakes.
Yeah.
We think this would be a really good area to go ahead and test a new vehicle or test the limits of even your 4x4. Overall, we had a great time and we'll definitely be back.